Empowering women involves providing them opportunities for growth, and that includes making a career change if necessary. Good morning, I'm Gerg Cahiles sitting in for attorney Karen Jimeno, and this is At the Forefront. March is Women's Month, and today we will be speaking with an organization that empowers women by providing them the technological know-how to gain high-paying jobs. How can women join? Who are qualified to join? And to answer these and more, we'll be speaking to Cara Wilson. She's the co-founder of For the Women, or FTW Foundation. Good morning, Cara.
Morning, George.
And thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
How did you guys start? What was the motivation behind this FTW Foundation?
Well, my journey was a little bit more of a personal one that took me all over the world. So I lived in Italy for 30 years, and when I was there, I met so many women, Filipino women, who were so smart and not necessarily doing the things that fulfilled them, far away from their family. And this was a cycle that kept going on and on from one generation to the next. And I thought that's just not okay for our country, you know, so many families broken and opportunities lost and women unfulfilled. And I thought, just for the luck of birth, that I'm not in that same position.
Yeah.
And one day I'd like to do something. So when my children grew up and I had a bit more time, I came back and found my co-founders and set up For the Women Foundation.
Can you briefly tell us what FTW is and what do you guys do?
So basically, we try to, in our small way, answer the problem of upskilling, because we all know that the whole world is going to be disrupted by AI, by digitalization, automation, and the Philippines is in a particularly vulnerable position because we have so many women working in BPOs, working in sectors that will be affected, disrupted so much by this. So how do we cope? We don't want them to be in a position where they'll have such difficulty, and which will also affect the economy of our country. You know, we're so dependent on these kinds of jobs, and women are in some places even the majority of those kinds of jobs. So we need to upskill, and to do that, we need to train and give the potential to women. And we thought, how will we do that? We had to find positions or roles that they can be trained for that are future resilient. So we finally identified data roles, data jobs that are future resilient, that will allow these women to continue into the future.
For those who are wondering what exactly data science is, because you train your scholars ng data science, ano? Maybe it's kind of intimidating when you hear data science, ano?
Yeah.
What exactly does data science mean?
Well, the name kind of changes, and I'm not a data scientist, so I'm learning so much from the data scientists that we work with. Now they call it AI engineers, data engineers. So basically, it takes a data scientist, or whatever the title that you want to give it now as it evolves, takes large amounts of data and gives insights to the business based on this data. So imagine if you have millions of data points, that how can you analyze that in a way that will help your business? You need somebody who has the computer skills, who can code and learn certain kinds of coding skills to be able to do that.
Do you think women in the Philippines are underrepresented in terms of, well, at least in the tech industry? Are they underrepresented now?
Yes, very much so. That's why we wanted to do this for women, because my co-founders, who had a data school at the time, said most of the women who have to borrow money to take this expensive course are the ones that really excel. So, and many data teams of the partners that we work with, big partners that we work with, they feel that without women on the team, then the models and the algorithms will be biased.
Yes.
And so they won't be serving the community as well as they should.
Now, I'm wondering, where do you get the funding to, you know, sponsor scholarships, like hundreds? Currently, you have 607 graduates already.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes. Well, we raise our own funds. Luckily, we've built a good reputation, and a lot of our partners have hired women from our scholar alumni group. So we've had great partners like Accenture, GCash, Lazada, the Insular Group of Companies, PLDT Smart. So companies that really recognize that there is a need for their teams to have more women in them because they are underrepresented, as you mentioned.
Can you share to us some anecdotes, of some of your scholars, graduates who were able to succeed and achieve the goal of your organization? Baka lang on top of your head, there's a story that you will not forget.
Yes. Well, for example, in one of my batches, the first one to get hired was a public school teacher, a math teacher. And she was hired by, I believe it was GCash that hired her. And she came to me and she said, Ms. Cara, how is it possible? A month ago, I was meeting with my principal making lesson plans, and now I'm a data analyst for GCash. And I said, you see, you just have to believe in yourself. And once a woman goes over that first hurdle, because, women need a little bit more encouragement in the beginning. Medyo sigurista, natatakot sila ng konti. You have to tell them, kaya mo yan. And then once they go over that hurdle, then the sky is the limit, not, for them. They can keep going and going.
That's the point that I want to go to, because, of course, being a teacher, for example, like what you mentioned, it's already a stable job. No, it's not high paying, but it's a stable job. And most Filipinos nowadays, especially in the provinces, they wanted to be a teacher. No, but making that career shift, making that jump is not easy when you feel that you are already in a position that this is already my comfort zone.
Right.
So how do you encourage them? How do you make women change their minds and aim for bigger things for them?
Well, as you know, I'm sure this has happened to you in your career, any person. Growth comes from getting out of your comfort zone. If you don't want to grow, then probably this kind of scholarship is not the right one for you. Most of the women who come to us see their future and realize that nothing will happen to me and my family if I stay still. I want to grow. And to do that, you need to get out of your comfort zone and continue to learn. In tech, you can never sit down and say, this is enough, I will just do this forever, because things change so quickly. So we are looking for women who realize that the learning process never ends. And those are the kinds of women we try to find.
It says here, you focus on selecting unstoppable, ambitious women. How do you do that? How do you select these women who will be your scholars?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have designed our own 4-step selection process. We have a test, we have interviews, we have case studies, we have works, and we have ways of figuring out after a number of cohorts. We kind of can see red flags, or we can see the potential, and we look for potential in not so typical places. So often when you go for a job interview, they'll always ask you, what's your previous experience? We look at that, but we also look at what makes you want to move out of that and why you want to grow. And I think that kind of attitude is what is very important about FTW graduates.
Now, you're receiving thousands of applications in a cycle or for a batch, no? And I'm wondering, what is the demographics of these women applying for that scholarship? Those women na sinasabi nyo nga ambitious, who wanted to take that leap of faith and have their careers changed?
Well, the normal age, the typical age is 24 to 27 years old.
Okay.
So usually after 2 or 3 years working in a job, they realize nothing will happen here. I want to upskill to do something more future resilient. But we also have many new grads, or we have older women, which are wonderful. When you see an older woman we had one woman who had to take a job in a BPO because her father had a stroke when she was in almost graduating college. And she had to work for 10 years to put her brother through school. And once her brother graduated, she said, okay, now is my time, but I'm 37. What will happen to me? How difficult? Do I still have a chance? And we took her. She got right away hired by a US tech firm who promoted her and sent her onto AI trainings. And she almost got pirated by other companies. And her firm right away realized what a gem she was. And that was because she had new skills and she was able to apply it to the job. So I think that they right away raised her salary as well. So I think that that's a wonderful story and shows that if you can continue to reinvent yourself, there's no age limit.
Yeah. So in short, you accept everyone.
Yes.
No age limit.
No.
In terms of selecting your scholars. How many scholars per batch?
We used to have 30, and now we've been able to increase that to 60 per batch.
And it's because
We've had enough partners, raised enough funds. So basically, when you work for a nonprofit, it's all about the funds that you can raise. So I hope there are people out there, partners or companies that want these young, gritty-driven talent that just want to learn and do well for them. And we have a program that allows them to learn very quickly. So
I'm sure you guys are working very hard to get more funding to help more Filipino women. Now talk about the training itself. How long does it take for you to finish your course? And what do they do?
Okay, so it's 12 to 14 Saturdays. We realized that most of these women cannot afford to sit in a classroom for months on end. So we had to do our classes on Saturdays. Also, our teachers are all industry practitioners, so they work during the week.
Okay.
And there's a lot of work. It's quite intensive for these 12 to 14 Saturdays. They learn Python, SQL, exploratory data analysis, dashboarding. We do a lot of communication skills because we think that with a lot of tech people, sometimes the challenge is communicating. Sometimes tech people speak in a way that no one can understand except the tech people. So we try to make sure they realize decision makers are not always tech people. You need to know how to communicate and data storytell. So we spent a lot of time on soft skills as well.
Having those soft skills, it's already an advantage, right?
Yeah.
And how do companies at least react to your graduates? If they hire them, what are the reactions or their feedback?
Well, they often say, first, many companies, I don't know if it's happened to you in your job, right away they say, we want senior. But seniors are very expensive. Seniors are also very mobile. They move very quickly, right? So
especially in the tech world.
Yes. So we try to tell them, why don't you try a junior that has the basic skills, can do all this coding that you need, train them for 6 months, and I'm sure with the gritty, driven, ambitious women we have, and we have evidence, and we continue to take evidence and data on our graduates, we're sure that you can promote them to team leads after short periods of time. Give a chance to junior talent and that kind of employee that will go through walls for you.
All right. Is it possible now for women to get a high-paying job without leaving the country? But before you answer that, at the forefront, we'll be back after a short break. Welcome back at the forefront. We continue our conversation with Cara Wilson. She's a co-founder of For the Women Foundation. Now, I would like to tweak my hanging question earlier. Is there an opportunity for women to get high-paying jobs here in the country without going abroad?
Yes, there is. Tech jobs can be done remotely. I think that is a big change for women, especially women who have families who perhaps would like to work from home and do things. There is that opportunity. Now, I think that the growth in your pay will depend a lot on what you put into it. So your first leap after FTW is pretty significant, but of course, you wouldn't consider that yet the highest pay. It will take time, but if you show your employers that you are a lifelong learner and this kind of gritty, detail-oriented person, I think that is a winning solution.
If you can just give us an idea, how much is the change of salary for women who before and after joining your program?
So many of the women that start with us are earning, let's say, 20, 24, 23. Many, for example, Gerg, engineers. We have many engineers. Because engineers, their starting salaries are really not that high, right? Considering the amount of time they need to study for that role. So, and they're great, they love math, engineers usually, and they're wonderful data people as well. So they're able to usually double their salaries after graduating from our program in their first jobs. And then we have evidence that shows that within 6 months they get another lift. And then the big lift comes after 2 years. So the salaries keep on growing in these kinds of fields that are really in demand.
But do you think women are getting like equal opportunities, especially in the tech world? Alam naman natin na marami sa tech, they're really men. So, what do you think?
I think that it's changing. I think that especially in data roles, companies, as I mentioned before, a leading partner I said, why did you decide to hire from FTW? They said, we cannot have our data teams full of men only from the 3 elite colleges, which often happens. We would like diversity, because if not, the algorithms that serve their customers will just go in a certain direction, and it won't serve their business as well. So for some reason, tech has been dominated by men, but it's changing, and data is one of the fields where it's changing a lot, I think.
And it's important that we take that opportunity.
Yes.
And that's why FTW is here. So for those, who are you guys training? I mean, Metro Manila based lang ba ito, or people from the provinces can take their opportunity as well and try to apply?
Well, we do get applicants from further away. We've had applicants that have moved to Manila just for the duration of the program. We have...
Kasi matagal din, 14 weeks po, no?
Yes. So we have had scholars that come from Baguio, come from Pangasinan. They just take the bus every Friday just to be here for our Saturday classes. But unfortunately, we would love to do something outside of Metro Manila and try to do that in another province. But we feel that it's also important that these women spend time together, because we tried to do it completely online.
Exactly.
And there was something lost. When a community of women struggling to learn something difficult and intense is there for each other every Saturday, and they go through that, it really creates a strong energy and a positive bond that I think makes FTW a little bit different also, because it's a strong community that help each other. The scholars come back also and become future teachers. They also, some donate, some hire when they get, so it's a pay it forward.
Pay it forward process, and it's important as well. Siguro, for those who are interested to join and apply, how can they reach you?
Okay, so they can check out our Facebook page, FTW Foundation, for the Women Foundation, or our website, ftwfoundation.org. We will have a new round of applications opening in April, I believe, so please stay tuned on our social media and website for those announcements, and applications will be opening.
Of course, NGOs can only do so much. Sabi mo nga, you wanted to expand and do it somewhere else. Pero, syempre, with our limited budget as well, hindi natin magagawa right away. So how do you see, are you coordinating with the government at least for them to replicate or do something about this as well?
Yeah, I think that the government has so many challenges on their hands. I think that they are right to consider upskilling, but they need the private sector to partner with them, because the jobs are coming from the private sector. So I think that there are many big partners that we've had that are working with the government. We tried recently to work with an LGU, and it just took a long time to get that together, but we're still hoping that will happen, because I think that they're perfect partners.
LGUs,
in all of it.
right?
Yes.
But initially, do you have partners already, LGUs?
Well, we were working with Mayor Joy Belmonte, trying to get something done in Quezon City, so I hope that will happen soon.
Well, we hope that it will prosper, because Mayor Joy is very supportive of programs related to women and gender-related concerns.
Yes.
Now, I know you already mentioned this a while ago, but if someone or a brand wants to sponsor with you, how can they gain from this opportunity? Probably.
Well, so many ways. First of all, if a brand's CSR, if your CSR is to help women, then I suppose you figured out that is really going to bring systemic change to the country. Secondly, if they have a pipeline of needs of junior data talent, we have so many ways that we can help them. Please get in touch, info@ftwfoundation.org. We'll be so happy to set up a meeting and to work with you to develop either your CSR concept, so many ways to partner. You can become a selection partner, an employment partner, a cohort sponsor. You can You can do within our cohort. We have capstones, so we go to companies and we say, "Do you need a data problem solved?" And we assign 4 or 5 scholars to become interns in your company a little bit for the duration of our program, and they solve a data problem and help you get that solved, and then you can decide whether they're right for your team. So it's a perfect way of recruiting also.
It's a win-win solution.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so far, how many partners do you have? And what are the typical background of these companies?
So our biggest partners are the big ones, right? So as I mentioned earlier, Accenture, we've had PLDT Smart, Gcash, Lazada, the Insular Group of companies, because they have strong beliefs in the need to increase the participation of qualified women in the workforce. But they also have pipeline needs, so they continue to hire from us, and I would say any company that has that bent and that need to increase the diversity in their tech workforce, we're very happy to work with them.
And of course, BPOs, talaga ito medyo at risk or volatile siya in terms of the changes in the technology, AI, as you mentioned. That's why upscaling is very important.
Yes, that's a very good point. We have not yet had a big BPO partner, but we'd love to have that. That is a perfect place to even tailor-make a curriculum to work with the skills that a BPO will be needing for tomorrow. For example, as I say to all my women, why do you need to learn to code, even though AI can code for you now? It's because you have to be the boss of the AI.
Exactly.
You cannot just make the AI do everything, and then you'll lose your job one day again. So you need to be the expert that can understand what AI is doing and check for your company to make sure that AI is not hallucinating or doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, right? So that's why.
Exactly. That's why, siguro, can individuals also approach you and sponsor a scholar?
Yes, very much so. As I mentioned earlier, I hope they flash on the screen our contact information. Please get in touch with any contribution, small or big, is very much welcome.
Appreciate it. And siguro, lastly, Cara, before we close this conversation, what is your message to women who are also dreaming or, looking at tech as their potential work in the future? What can you tell them?
What I can say to women is that the largest obstacle is usually in your head. What will you lose by just trying? Just try. Go for it. See if you make it. And if you do, with FTW or an organization like us, you'll definitely find a community that will support you, and then you will realize, why didn't I try even earlier? Just try. Go for it.
Try and go
be
for
bold,
it.
Be bold. Yeah.
Right. Be bold, try, go for it. Yeah. Thank you very much, Cara Wilson, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Gerg. Thank you for having me.
Getting a high-paying job is a must nowadays as oil prices rise on a daily basis or a weekly basis. The sad reality is that women may not have as much opportunity as men, and they need all the help they can get. Trainings provided by the Women Foundation give a much-needed boost to women who are starting a career or switching to a new one. So congratulations and thank you to FTW Foundation, and more power.
Thank you.
Be informed, be insightful of the news. I'm Gerg Cahiles. Always stay at the forefront.